joined by Acting Mayor Chris Scanlon for a monthly Ask the Mayor segment. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Mayor. All right, we're starting with the big one, the Bills. Are they going all the way? What do you think of this team? You are a South Buffalo native.
Yeah, obviously very excited. The whole city's excited. You can feel the energy around the city everywhere you go. People are mood, feeling great about the weekend, and this is the big one. Obviously, I've been waiting all year to play the Chiefs again, with a chance to go back to the Super Bowl for the first time in a couple decades. So everyone's very excited. We can't wait for the game Sunday night.
You have a big rally going on, I believe, tomorrow. Let's talk about that. You've had these rallies at City Hall. They keep getting bigger and bigger. Yeah,
they're growing as we continue to make that playoff push, as the team continues to push through the playoffs. But tomorrow at 2:30 out in front of City Hall, we'll have another rally. We'll be joined by lots of our people at City Hall, Team City Hall, as well as fans from across the region, former players, the Bills marching band, Billy Buffalo, and some others. So it's going to be a fantastic atmosphere out there as we head into the weekend, excited for the game.
Are you asking people to show up to that?
Absolutely. Please come out 2:30 in front of City Hall tomorrow. It'll be a lot of fun.
Okay, we don't want to jinx anything. If the team wins the Super Bowl, though, I think people want to know, how are we preparing? Are we preparing as a city?
Yeah, there will be conversations. We've had initial conversations about planning and making sure that everything will be safe and strategic should that come, but I don't want to go too far into that.
We won't. We don't want to jinx anything. We have no wood. Oh,
yes.
This might be laminate, but it's wood. All right. There is a dispute moving on here between you and the comptroller about the ARP funding. This came out late last week. She says nearly $2.5 million was not spent before that deadline at the end of last year. You're saying it was spent.
Yeah.
That's not true. Where do we stand on that right now?
Yeah, I was a little disappointed. Our team was a little disappointed when we received that letter. I thought one thing I've preached and talked about is collaboration and partnership with my different partners in government, whether it's the council, the comptroller, whomever it might be. So to see the letter was a little frustrating, but I think it could have been cleared up with a phone call. Yeah. I know they went into the tracking system, saw some accounts that had money in it that otherwise wouldn't have. It's just a fact that they weren't down a certain way, but all that money was obligated for before the end of the year. The $2.5 million in the arrears program was approved by the council on December 23rd. One of the pockets of money was something that there's litigation involved, so we couldn't move that money forward. But by and large, I mean, our Commissioner of Administration and Finance was at the council's caucus yesterday, explained everything, and I think that the council was satisfied with those answers.
They were. So everything is mainly ironed out. I know you're bringing it next week, though, as well.
I think the council does want to talk about it again in a public forum, which is fine. I think the citizens deserve to know exactly what's going on, make sure everything's cleared up. But by and large, it seems like it's cleared up.
Okay. Sticking with that funding, you requested a full accounting of the Buffalo Water Board ARP funding and where some money went. We know $11 million at the end of last year had to be transferred into capital projects instead of going to people who maybe couldn't pay their water bills. Yeah. I believe that was then transferred back to now help people who can't pay their water bills. Give us an update on that and where that is now at. With that.
Yeah, so we asked them for a full accounting of that American Rescue Plan money, where it went, any money that's not been spent, what accounts it's in, how much is left in those accounts, but if they moved any of that money around, how it was spent. They've been working with my team closely to get us all those answers. There was a transition there at the head of their board when the general manager of the sewer authority left and took another job. So there was a transition there, so we're pulling all that information together, and we'll be able to put that out to the public very soon.
Okay, so that's not done yet, that accounting. All right. And our Jeff Preval did a story this week also related to the Buffalo Water Board. They said an organization found in 2019 the highest number of water shutoffs happened in lower income zip codes. He reached out to the city. He reached out to others as well, wondering if you would be open to income-based payments in the future, like other big cities. Baltimore was one of those cities that are doing that.
Yeah, we can look at that. Obviously in 2019 was the last shutoff of those shutoffs. The last of the notifications regarding a shutoff was in 2019. That's before my time as mayor. Yeah. But we are open to having those conversations. But I do just want people to know that prior to the 2019, when they stopped doing those, there were other programs in place to help people with their payments. There were large for seniors. There were 0% down and 0% interest payment plans set up for people. So I think if you were seeing shutoffs, it's probably because people weren't responding to notices, things of that nature. So I think what we've got to do is a better job of communicating with people, get people to know what's going on. And then if we want to talk about a different plan, I'm open to that for sure.
You are open to that. I mean, $11 million was earmarked to people who couldn't maybe pay their water, a basic human right here. So you are open to maybe helping out those folks in the future.
Yeah, again, whether it's one of the plans that already exist that could be helpful or whatever it is, obviously we don't want to impact anyone's life when it comes to water. Everyone deserves water in their homes, so yeah.
We also learned in the last couple of weeks that Joseph Galia, our former Buffalo Police Commissioner, resigned and then ultimately retired. You had a conversation with him and then found out, he was resigning afterward. Tell me about that conversation. Were you expecting him to say, you know what, I'm done, I'm retiring, or were you expecting to iron things out together?
Yeah, we had a conversation, and in that conversation, I let the commissioner know that I wanted to take the department in a different direction. Later that day, he did inform us that he was going to resign, and then I believe it was the next day that he was ultimately going to retire. The one thing I want people to know is that I have the utmost respect for Joe Galia and the nearly 30 years he invested in the Buffalo Police Department, the city of Buffalo. Did a fantastic job, and I don't think anyone could say that the Buffalo Department isn't better off because of his role in the department. But sometimes you just want to do things a little differently, take things in a different direction, and because of that, there ended up being a change at the top, and I think that Acting Commissioner Alright, and hopefully soon to be made permanently Commissioner Alright, is the guy to do that, to take us to the next level.
All right, great. Allentown, we are missing 2 big bars that were in that area. What do you see for the future of Allentown without those staple establishments?
Yeah, I think we all know the historic nature of the Allentown neighborhood, and it's been a sad 6 months for that neighborhood, the loss of those 2 establishments, those 2 buildings that were not just historically significant, but culturally significant here in the landscape of Buffalo. The good thing is we've heard from some people who want to do something on that block, and the wonderful part about that is the city of Buffalo is going to play a major role in anything that happens there. Those 2 parcels are now empty, but the city of Buffalo owns the parcel between them. So anyone that wants to do anything there, we're going to have a major say in that, and we'll be a major contributor to anything that takes place there.
So it might not turn into a parking lot. What would you like to see
No, that's
happen
the last thing that I would want to see is a parking lot there. No, I'd like to see some buildings erected there, whether they are mixed use, whatever it might be, but something that contributes to that community, but also reflects the historic nature of that community.
All right, Acting Mayor Chris Scanlon, thank you so much for
Thank you.
joining me this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
And go Bills.
Go Bills.